Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to today's session on important tips to clear prelims. I am Sonalika Ruchandani, and I have been recently allocated to the Indian Railway Management Services through the reserve list of UPSC. Because January is here and this year's prelims is scheduled to be on May 26th, so we are getting a lot of queries from people regarding how to approach prelims or how to, utilize this 4 5 months to be successful in prelims. So we thought of conducting this session to help the students with analyzing, how to go about this year's prelims, considering the changing pattern in the last few years, especially, post 2022. So, fine, we'll start, but I'll tell you some good tips. But before that, I'll tell you about myself. The first prelims that I cleared was in my third attempt. I couldn't clear the first two prelims, so I have a good experience of failure in prelims, and then analyzing my mistakes and then understanding how to approach it in the right direction. So a few mistakes that I did and that you should not do is, first thing is that I didn't revise the static syllabus well. No matter which year you pick up the question paper, there will always be some static questions. And by some, I mean 30 to 40 questions, which will be from static portion of your syllabus. So we have four important static subject in prelims, which is polity, economy, history, which includes modern, medieval, ancient, all of them. Earlier, there was a conception that, medieval is not that important or ancient history is not that important. But then I believe that it has become so unpredictable that you should not leave out on easy questions of any subject. So, leaving out on any subject is not advisable. Even if you are weak in some subjects, you should cover at least the basics so that you're able to, at least get the easy questions out of the paper, because easy questions will be solved by everyone. So if you are losing out on that, then you are already getting behind of others. So as I told, polity, economy, history, and then geography, these are the four static subjects which you should be very well thorough with in the static part. Then there is environment, science and tech, IR, which is mostly covered through current affairs. So for current affairs, there is a different approach altogether. But these four static subjects, you should do as many revisions as you can. So for subject as factual or as polity, and which has a lot of minute things to take care of, you can revise it 5 times, 6 times also, and it is possible to revise it in 4 months. But at least four revisions of each subject should be done. So, if we consider how to go about, this 4 months or 4.5 months, you should make a schedule by yourself, considering what is the current level of your preparation. And you should make a proper timetable of these 4 months as to how you will manage to revise, all these subjects in at least four revisions in 4 months. So if you don't have a plan of action, you will not be able to do. So it's very easy to tell that I have to revise it 4 times, but unless you have a plan of action, you will not be able to execute it. So make a proper timetable and devise, plan it meticulously, and make sure that you're doing sufficient number of revisions before attempting the final exam. So this is the first mistake that I did. I just read everything once or twice, and then I thought, fine, it can be done. That doesn't work. Uh, the second thing which I uh, did differently in my third attempt was analyzing PYQs. So everybody tells that you have to read PYQs, you have to read PYQs, but then reading or knowing is not enough. You have to, you have to basically uh, analyze the paper. And by analyze, I mean understand which portions of the syllabus you are getting more questions from, and how to approach a particular question if you don't know it. So one thing is, you should know from which areas they're asking more questions. That will be done through PYQs. another thing is you need to understand how to solve the questions which you don't know. So I used to solve all the questions of previous current affairs also, even though I know it might not be that relevant this year, but I used to try to understand how to approach the question which you don't know. Because even this year, they will ask a lot of current affairs which you don't know. So you should understand that you need to analyze it, and you need to, that is a source of your practice also. So try to practice it in a way that, you learn to approach the unknown questions also. So try to come up with the right answer through, maybe tricks, or earlier at least it used to work that you need to eliminate the extreme statements, or you need to, um, some ministries will be wrong, some data will be wrong. So this is a general trend, and to some extent it works even today. Some questions you will get, because that's how the examiner will make the question wrong, by tweaking some little bit of data, or by changing the ministry, changing the data, adding an extra word which will make the statement wrong. So you need to understand the psychology of the examiner as well. And also, we have seen, ridiculously high number of questions from previous years options, or similar questions on similar themes. So make sure you don't miss on that. That's a bonus mark which you will get. So PYQs is your holy grail. Just keep, reading it every day. So I used to solve it at regular intervals, like a full paper also. And before the exam, at least 7 to 10 days before the exam, every day I used to sit with one paper, one UPSC PYQ, and I used to just, solve it or revise it or go through whatever I have done in the all this 3 4 months. So you need to also, get into the hang of UPSC papers, because somehow it will get into your subconscious. If you keep solving UPSC papers, even if you don't realize it, it will get into your subconscious that you will have to, solve it in this way, or this kind of questions. They will trap you in a particular way. So just try to, solve it. And one thing which I also realized by analyzing a lot of PYQs is that if it's a question which is very difficult, and by very difficult, you will also be able to understand that this is completely out of nowhere. It's not related to static. It was not that much in current affair also. So they will make it easier for you through the options. So that is why you should never leave any question. Take every question on the face value and try to solve it. Try to understand how you could go about any particular question. And then even if you are in a 50-50 position, you should go for it, because 50-50 is a good chance to take. And these days, with the cutoffs, especially for the general category, getting very high, you need to solve good number of questions, because accuracy cannot be guaranteed in these kind of papers. So you need to make sure that you're solving a lot of questions, and so you will get some, good benefit out of it. So this was about PYQs. So I hope you should be able to, analyze the PYQs. And a lot of students also ask how many years paper, or from which year we should solve the PYQs. So 2013 ke baad there was a change in pattern. So yeah, after 2013 you can solve, but more prominently after 2018 they increased the difficulty level of the question. So after 2018 you should do it more number of times. Before that, it will be simpler. You do everything. There are a lot of questions which have been repeated from 2014, 2015 also. So that is about PYQs. Yeah. So this was the second thing. And another thing which I did, which I feel like helped me immensely, is solving a lot of tests. And by a lot, I mean, so everybody has their strong and weak points, right? I knew that MCQs is somewhere which is where, I have this weakness. I can't control my impulses, or I'll just, I'll be careless. I'll mark things, and I'll later realize that it was wrong. So, I had this a lot of problems with MCQs. So I made it a point that I will do it until it gets into my habit. So I used to solve one paper every day, almost 1 to 2 months before prelims. So I have solved more than, 60, 70 papers in the last 2 months. So yeah, so if you're someone who has a lot of problems with MCQs, then you should make it a point that you keep doing it regularly. You get into the practice. And the same thing goes for, mains also. A lot of people tell that we consistently get very low marks in mains tests. So the thing is that you need to practice. If you're not good at something, and everybody has their strong and weak points, so if you're not good at something, then you should keep practicing it. So at some point, it will, come to you. Nothing is that difficult about UPSC. You just have to keep working towards it. So practice a lot of tests. Tests will help you to understand in which subjects you are weak, in which even in the subject which areas you are doing more questions wrong. It will help you to, and of course take the exam in exam environment. So if your prelims is going to be on a 9 a.m. at 9 a.m., then you solve the test at 9 a.m. And if your CSAT is going to be in scorching heat at 2 o'clock in the afternoon after your this GS paper is over, then you should make yourself that much uncomfortable, and you should, practice in that kind of environment. When COVID was going on, there used to be this, mask and all these problems were there, and it used to create a lot of stress during examinations. So I even practiced some tests with the masks on and everything, because that's how it is. For prelims, it's just 2 hours. If anything goes wrong, then everything goes wrong. So just make sure that whatever the exam conditions will be on that day, you're practicing, you're preparing yourself for those 2 hours. Those are the most important. And yes, one more tip is there, that these days CSAT is also becoming very difficult. So just to make sure that you don't take CSAT lightly. I know people who have cleared GS, but this they couldn't, go make it through because of CSAT. So don't take CSAT lightly. And CSAT is not that much about, knowing, or too much practicing. It's about time management also, because it has I mean, it has a mix of English and reasoning and quantitative aptitude. So find your strong areas and try to manage to get 40 questions or 45 questions. Like, try to solve these many questions in 2 hours. 45 questions in 2 hours is not a big deal, just that students are not able to manage their time properly. So just make sure that don't take CSAT lightly. Keep giving CSAT tests. Give one or two previous year papers. See where you're standing. And previous year means after 2021. See where you're standing, and then based on that, you decide how much time you have to give for CSAT. So these were the three mistakes that I did, and when I rectified it, I could clear prelims. So uh, that's one thing which I wanted to tell. Now we will also discuss about the changing trend in the recent years. As you can see, UPSC has become more random. It has been the question pattern has been changing. They have changed the option pattern also, and now you're supposed to know a lot. Earlier, it was like even if you have some sort of a superficial knowledge on the topic, you can make it through the options. But now that they've changed the option pattern also, you should exactly know which is wrong and which is right. And based on that only, you will be able to, come to an answer. So, so for that, one thing is that you need to study minutely. Earlier, it was fine if you just know about it, but now you need to just, go into the details very well. So make sure whenever you're reading any news, you're having your concepts clear, and you're reading it minutely. And also, previous year papers will help here, when you will see that, to what depth or to what extent they are asking the particular question, and analyze it, how much depth you should be knowing about. Basically, the syllabus you will understand once you go through the PYQ, because there is no set syllabus for prelims. So yeah, just make sure that you are studying everything minutely and properly. And newspapers have become the most important now. There were a lot of people earlier who used to clear without reading newspapers, without following any newspapers, by just reading the magazines. But now it will not work. It will absolutely not work. Newspapers has to be your primary source of preparation for prelims. So any one good newspaper, the Hindu or Indian Express, you can use. A lot of students also ask which newspaper should I read, but it doesn't matter. Any important news will be covered in both the newspapers, and some news will be there which will be left in both. So one newspaper is enough, but you study it properly. If possible, you make notes out of it. at least give 1 hour to the newspapers, because if you don't understand the development of the topics, you will not be able to understand the context, and you will not be able to answer it properly. So if you're like spending 2 hours in reading magazines and it's not giving any output, then it's always better to, stick to the basics. So just yeah, read newspapers, try to cover the news, try to write notes of whatever important topics are there, and do a, a little bit of extra research also. So if you see, a lot of questions are asked from science and tech and from environment. So you should make it a point that whenever there's a news on any biosphere reserve, national park, or any new species, or in science, if you see, they're asking too much questions on the recent technologies. So recently deepfakes was in news, so you should know about it completely. You should know what is a deep fake. You should know how they can be misused, what are the features of it. Whatever new technologies are there, as officers they expect you to be aware of the technologies, because we need to be ahead of the criminals and people who might be misusing it. So as officers, it's your duty, as future officers, to know all the recent technologies from a scholarly perspective. And same goes for environment. You should be aware of whatever is going on to a greater depth. You should use maps, or you should use creative things to remember all these things. And yeah, so just change your methods a little bit. Magazine you have to read, any one institute good magazine you can read, but that is not completely reliable. That is just to accentuate your information. So whatever information you're reading in newspapers, some of it, like, you are reading only one newspapers, but this magazine will have information from 4 5 sources. So it will be better to have this uh, complete source for current affairs. So newspaper plus one good magazine. That's it for current affairs. And so yeah, also this was the thing which I changed in my third attempt. When I cleared prelims, I focused more on newspapers for both prelims and mains. So even for mains, you will get a lot of content from editorials and all. And for prelims, editorials are not that important. So by the end of March or something, you can skip editorials and you can just keep reading the newspapers. And it's advisable to read newspapers until 15th of March completely. So, yeah, that's it. I think most of the things have been covered. And there are a few questions. What would you suggest to handle the stress and demotivation? Stress, yeah, so stress and demotivation will always be there, but you need to manage it. It will be there even during, your work. As officers, you're being prepared for it. This is why this exam is so tedious and it consumes a lot of you. So you need to learn to manage it. Include some physical exercises always in your routine. Include some meditative techniques if possible, because it will not just help you with calming your nerves down, but it also improves your concentration. And it is something, holding your nerves is something which will help you not just for UPSC but in general for your life. So don't stress too much. One thing which I've understood is whatever is meant to happen will happen. So unless you're doing your work properly, you don't need to worry about anything. So just make sure that you are including some exercise, and don't think too much about what will happen. Will I clear, or if I clear, I'll go to Labasna, or I'll roam around in this uh, sarkari cars and all. You don't need to like go that far. You just like take every day on its face value. Have your targets on a daily basis. Make your targets, finish your targets. That's how you should proceed. You should have a long term plan. You should have a short term strategy, and just wake up every day and start working for it without thinking too much about the results, because these things are something which are not in your hands, but your studies and your hard work is in your hand. And if you're working diligently, if you're working honestly, it will lead you somewhere. So just keep that faith in your mind and just keep studying. Prelims test series, how many tests we should take up? It depends on you. Like I told, I used to take a lot of tests. I took more than 50, 60 tests, because not full tests, sectional plus full test, but at least 15 full tests you should take. in order to be able to gauge properly if you're, you know, if you're in the right path or not. There will be some tests where you'll score very low and some tests where you'll score very high. Don't hang yourself on it too much. Just an average, you should just score, good marks. And any number of tests is fine. Just 15 full tests plus BYQ plus some sectional tests you should take. There is no higher limit, but the slower limit should be there. Vishishta IAS is also conducting a test series, and the tests are really good. I have also contributed to some questions there, so you can take that test series as well. When should we stop mains preparation completely? Um, if it's your first attempt, then I think you need to give good like 4 months for the preparation. So from February you should stop. If it's your like if you've given prelims before and you know how it is and you know where your weaknesses are, then you can go up to Feb mid or even Feb end. 2 to 3 hours you can study for mains, but from January, you should start to understand that prelims is approaching and you need to start studying for prelims. Prelims has become very unpredictable these days and it needs some good level of preparation. So you should start for prelims preparation from January, and then you should slowly start reducing the time which you're giving for mains. And by no means you should, continue your mains preparation after March. I feel like that's something which you should, keep in mind. PT 365 sufficient? Like I was telling, PT 365 is something which you should read, or any one magazine you should read, but don't replace it with newspapers, accentuate it for newspapers. So it's not a replacement, it is, just something which is additional. So don't replace it with newspapers. As long as you're not replacing it with newspapers, PT 365 is more than enough. And special emphasis should be given to science and tech and environment and economy, because too many current affair questions are asked from these subjects. And of course, IR is there. For polity, geography, and history, you can just focus more on the statics. Mostly things are asked from the static only. How to remember all the facts, that's the problem. We can't remember all the facts. We're all humans. Some people have better memory, some people have lesser memory, but overall I feel like your goal should be to understand how to solve a problem. Even if you don't know facts, you don't need to remember all the facts, you don't need to memorize all the facts. They will not ask you to write a number, but itna to you should be able to understand that there's a difference between 50 and 500. So if instead of 50 they're writing 500, you should be able to understand that this is wrong. So one good thing about prelims is that you don't need to be accurate, unlike mains. For mains, if you're writing data, it should be at least approximately correct. But here you just have to identify if it is correct or if it is wrong. And if even if you have a slight idea, then you should be able. So they will never do this. They will write 50 instead of 55, and they will expect you to remember it. But they will surely do this, that you should understand that it's not 500 or it's not 5,000. So for factual information, you should just have a general idea that it is around this much, and that is also again an understanding, thing, not something to be, mugged up. I think for mains, facts are more important because you need to be very precise. But for prelims, you should just have a general idea about everything and an approximate idea about the data and the facts and ministries and everything. So just keep revising it multiple times. You will come around the facts which are important, and too much factual information you don't need to remember. Just this much will be enough. I'm scoring very less in PTS. How to increase my marks? Um if you're scoring very less, that means first thing is you need to analyze where is the problem exactly. But if in general your score is like lingering around 40, 30, or even below that, that means your static is not good. So you need to revise your static very well. Now, like I was telling in the beginning, you need to do 4 to 5 revisions of every subject, and like for some things it's like you should, like you should be able to recite things, especially for subjects like polity, history, geography. You should be able to tell it. So it's not sitting and mugging up, it's revising this many number of times that you can identify that this is wrong. So if you're scoring very low in PTS, that simply means that your basics are not correct. You keep revising, you need to revise more number of times. So make a proper plan, Kavya. Make a proper schedule on how you will revise all your subjects in the next 4 months. You need to revise everything at least 4 times. Plus, you need to do more practice. So with practice also, your accuracy will increase, and you will also get to know which are your weak points. So you start practicing prelims test series or prelims questions from now itself, and don't depend on any others schedule. Just make your own schedule according to your own convenience. Whichever subjects you feel like you are weak in, or you've less read, you just focus more on that. And polity and history, make sure you're doing very well, because they are low hanging fruits. And just keep reading, revising, practicing. There is nothing, no magical way to increase score. This is the only thing which you can do. Can I focus on ethics now? Yes, you can. Until Feb 15, you can do whatever you want for mains. And ethics, I think, is a subject which should be prepared before, mains, before prelims itself. So you don't have that much time that, you start preparing for ethics after clearing prelims. So you can focus on ethics. Ethics is actually not a very, it does not require a lot of preparation. It just requires a lot of practice. So preparation you can do now, and practice you can do after prelims. So just if you notice for ethics, for each you will see a lot of questions are repeated. So you just need to prepare your own content, 1 or 2 page content for each point of the syllabus, like probity, integrity, crisis of conscience. Just have your own notes for these static topics, and case studies and all you can prepare after prelims. So just take around 15 days and do ethics well. Then you just need to do value additions, for example, and all. So that can be done later. But this much, at least, this basic thing should be done before prelims. How many tests to give from now on? Being it my first attempt, I'm not acquainted to MCQs. You can give anywhere between 35 to 40 tests. If possible, you give more tests also. Include PYQs also as a full test from 2013 onwards. Sit with the PYQs. I know we all know a lot of questions from PYQs already, but there are a lot of questions which you will get stuck on even if you've read it 3 4 times. So more than 30 tests should be done, and I feel like at least 50 tests should be done if you're not comfortable with MCQs, and if this is your first attempt. So 40 plus, definitely. How helpful are the daily mentorship program? So see, it depends on students, right? If you are someone who does not have proper guidance with you, so the major problem that students face is too much information is available now. There are too much resources, too many videos. Now you don't know who to follow and what to do, and there is too much of misguidance also available. People will, if you see toppers, they will tell that, I just used to study for 4 5 hours, or I just wrote 10 tests and I cleared this exam. This is not correct. You need to put in proper hard work. You need a right direction. So it took me 5 attempts to reach here, because I didn't have the right guidance. So as far as, if you're someone who does not have proper guidance with you, or if you're someone who has too much of confusions on what to follow, how to do, so you definitely need someone who can help you with your planning and preparation. And I feel like mentorship has helped me also. So definitely it does help depending on how well do you follow the guidance that is provided to you, and how much do you trust your mentor. So yeah. Ma'am, does PSR need good command over English language? If yes, then how one should ensure that he has a good command? So, yes, I feel like because it is a subject which requires a little bit of linguistic skills. You need to write in paragraphs, and see, this thing is also there, right? That you're competing with people who have done their political science honors from Delhi University, and also, it would be wrong to say that you can just write whatever you want in a very lucid language and you'll get good marks. So you do require English writing skills. You should know how to connect paragraphs. You should know, how to write keywords, how to use keywords, how to balance out your sentences. So that is there, but that being said, it is not something which cannot be done. You just need to keep reading the articles. Automatically you will get command over the language, and then you should also, you need to keep practicing. But I feel like even above practicing, I'd put reading more content for PSIR, because optional is something which requires you to write a lot of content. So just keep reading one or two articles daily. You can use IGNU material, you can use for IR, you can use Observer Research Foundation websites, you can use Carnegie India Foundation websites. Generally, if you just type any topic and type political science, you'll get a lot of good articles. So in order to get into the hang of political science, you need to use that language, you need to use those words. And also, when you're preparing any topic, let's say you're preparing liberalism, so there are certain keywords which will be related to liberalism which you need to use in order to get good marks. So wherever your notes are, you in the side, you just keep noting down the keywords which you can use in your answers, and slowly it will come to you. So reading more, reading good answers, you read toppers answers also, you will understand how they are writing. And in a very short duration, you can get good command over writing skills, if you're like really committed to doing it. So just keep doing it. It will come automatically, and then you can practice writing after clearing prelims. Now just 15-20 minutes keep reading some articles. I haven't prepared my optional enough, so should I start prelims preparation or not, or continue with optional only? Like I said, for now you can focus on mains. You can focus on your optional until February 15. You can read optional. So whatever you feel you're not done enough, or there are gaps in your preparation, or even if you feel like you've not done anything, or you like it's very less, you can at least prepare some part. So optional is divided into two papers, and each paper is divided into two parts, right? So you can prepare the theoretical parts of your optional if your optional is a theoretical subject. So at least something should be done. At least one part of each paper should be done. So you can utilize the next 1.5 months. You can divide. So you need to plan your day. You need to plan your months very meticulously. For the next 4 5 months, UPSC is the only thing that you should think about. So plan very well, plan your day, divide your day into prelims and mains. 3 hours a day you can give to your optional, 1.5 to 2 hours a day you can give to current affairs, and 3 to 4 hours you can give for your GS prelims preparation. So just keep, plan it properly, and for the until Feb 15, you can do your optional, fill in the gaps, and decide that I will do this much, and then make daily targets on how you will do that much by February 15, and you can do it. Answer writing you can do later. For now, at least do some preparation. CSAT strategy, any book suggestion? I did not follow any book. You also don't need to follow any book. There is, unnecessary hype about difficulty. I mean, it is becoming difficult, but like I told, you just need to manage it properly. So one thing is that you can't clear CSAT without English, and now, because they are increasing the difficulty level of reasoning and math. So just make sure that you are able to identify the easy questions. If it's a paper of 80 questions, nobody will set all 80 questions difficult. So with practice, you just need to identify the easy questions from English, reasoning, math, and solve it accordingly. RS Sharma is there, I think. RS Agrawal, sorry. That you can use, but more better approach would be to take a topic wise approach. Just pick the topics which are more recurrent, like number system is there, profit loss is there, percentage is there, permutation combination is there. Just see some videos on YouTube, know the basics, then go to the UPSC previous year papers and see if you're able to solve the questions or not, the last 2 3 years questions you go through. And if you're still not able to solve, then probably you are like very weak and you need some book. So you can refer to RS Agrawal. RS Agrawal is a good book. Other than that, strategy is very simple. Just solve last year 2 3, not 2 3 5 6 year question papers. See where you're standing, how much marks you're getting. If you're getting 80 plus in all the papers, you don't need to do much. You just need to solve maybe 5 6 tests by prelims. But if you're getting very low 40s, 50s, then you need to give some time every day. And until March it's a better time to prepare for CSAT, because from April you will be too much engaged in GS, current affairs, tests, a lot of things will come together. So if you're very weak in CSAT, you need to figure it out now. And you need to understand where your weaknesses are. You need to strategize it well. In CSAT you need to understand how to manage your time properly. And in 1 hour you can easily solve 40 questions if you are going about it right. And in case you need to discuss it, you can contact the mentors. They will help you based on your personal problems. So yeah. 2026 aspirant, I have taken a look at the examination and its pattern. What and how should I start? 2026. So you have good amount of time. You can start with reading your NCRTs. So generally people will tell 6 to 12, but 6 to 12 need not be read. But since you have a lot of time, you first start with 9 to 12 NCRTs for four basic subjects: polity, history, very important, geography, economy. These four subject NCRTs should be read very well and multiple times, not just one time. And don't make notes at this point. At this point, your goal should be just to understand it. Just give it a cursory reading, then again give it a cursory reading. Then in the third time you can start underlining and highlighting. Even at this point you don't need to make notes. After you have done two or three readings of your NCRT, which should not take more than 6 months. 6 months is too much. Then you should go for your standard books. So you start reading Lakshmikant, you start reading G.C. Leong for geography, for economy. You don't need any particular book. For history, you can read Spectrum. So start going for standard books and give it again one or two readings, and then you can probably start looking at questions and start taking some tests to understand if you're going in the right direction or not. So, firstly, for the next 6 months, you should go for NCRTs, two readings at least, and then you go for your standard books. That's how the strategy should be. So, okay, I think the questions are done. And I hope the session was helpful for you all. I guess we're going to end it here if you do not have any more doubts. In case you do have doubts, you can put down in the comment section, and the mentors will reply you from Vishishta IAS. So, yeah, this is it. Just one message I would like to give. People do not realize the gravity of prelims until it hits them that now only 1 month or 2 months are left, and then it's a very small time to fix the damage which has been done. And these 5 6 months are very important for your examination, for both prelims and mains. For the next 1 1.5 month, you can fill in whatever gaps you feel like are there in your mains preparation. And for prelims preparation, this is the time to get a kickstart. So don't wait for March. Start by making a strategy, a proper plan for 4 5 months, and then you start its execution. Take tests, use PYQs, revise. This is the only thing that is going to help you sail through prelims. Uh, and yeah, that's it. If you're doing this, then you don't need to worry too much. Don't get very worked up. What will happen? Don't get scared. Don't get too much anxious about this exam. Just keep your calm. That is something which you need to learn for the prelims examination, the mains examination, interview, and in life in general. If you're calm, everything will go good. So even in exam you need to go with the temperament that you have it all together. It's totally possible for you to clear the exam, because it's just a screening test. It's not to test your knowledge, it's to test you if you can think on the spot, and if you can hold it together, if you can take up the challenges, if you can take up unknown questions which just require common sense. So just have this sense of faith and sense of calm that it is totally doable. just do your basic things, and if you're doing it right, then confidence will come automatically, and that confidence will also reflect in your prelim scores. So just keep doing it. Mentorship program for PSIR is there. You can contact, you can just put it in the comment section and we will contact with you. So yeah, that's it. I guess we'll end the session now. All the very best for your prelims, and I hope to see a lot of you in the final list as well. So all right, good night, all the best.